Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm talking to myself too. I'm trying to wake up, wake up, wake up. Like do some shake it, shake it, shake it. Do it to the left, do it to the right. Good morning, Teresa. How you doing? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up Everybody, day 1323. Oh. I was just shy. See, it could have been 1327. That's my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that. Coming up the end of this month. So I'm glad to be in this space with everybody, sharing, operating in my fullness of self, doing what we all love to do. And that is bless each other, love on each other, care about each other. Um, so I'm really excited about today's session. In scaling, talking about SOPs or standard operation procedures. I know it was a life changer for me and continues to be for others who I work with and do things with. So I'm excited to get in, get in, get in. So come on, come on, come on. If you're on Facebook, join us in the space. Come and join us in the Zoom room. And thank you to those who are in the Zoom room with us. I'm very excited about today. I'm gonna get us started. I feel like, what's that song? Get us started. Mm, mm. Yeah, it's one of those mornings. But very much so, looking at just really sharing my story and talking about how I got started in this whole line of business, and just being able to help to expand people's business productions. And a lot of it is definitely being in a space by yourself, being a solopreneur, not having all the hands that you wish you had, are able to connect with people the way you want to. And it gets frustrating. It really gets frustrating when you are trying to do all of the things and that we were talking about this morning, trying to be all of the things to everyone, and you get to miss out on time for yourself. So definitely hope that after today's session, you'll be able to walk away with some really good information on how you can replicate yourself and not have to, keyword have to be everything to everyone.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Welcome everyone again. Those who are just joining us. Hey, Gina. Hey, Teresa. So we are gonna get into it. So to start us off, so today we're gonna be talking about scaling made simple, the magic of standard operating procedures. And to kind of get us started, I wanted to share a little bit because I know we got some new people in the space about how I got started in this. So I do event planning, I do corporate event planning. And one of the things that I always wanted to do was like, I would go to concerts and go to shows and go to all of these events. And I'm like, I want to figure out how to do that. And I know a lot of people don't think of how can I take on more work. But something in my mind is like, oh, it just intrigued me. I'm a problem solver. And I wanted to figure out how I can be in that space. And I thought that being a problem solver, that it relied solely on me to be there and be present to have to solve all of the problems. And so when someone brought to me the idea of like standard operations procedures, which is being able to replicate myself so that I can take on more jobs or I can expand into different spaces. I was like, yeah, that's not possible. Like I have to be there because I'm the only one that has that keen eye to be able to do certain things. And so I learned quickly that you cannot be all things to everyone and you cannot be present at all times, especially when you're doing large events in that kind of capacity. And so I do what's called a Juneteenth NYC event. It's the largest Juneteenth event in New York City. And I would say maybe my second pregnancy, which was one of my worst pregnancies. And my son was born in July and Juneteenth happens in June. And so I am walking around the event. We do it in East New York, Brooklyn. We have the entire park. We have a full four-lane highway, I mean, a four-lane street that we manage. So just imagine me 8.5 months pregnant and walking around and trying to like do everything, tell people, pick up tables, chairs, like pregnant, y'all. And people are just like, stop. I need you to stop. Don't touch nothing. Just tell me what you need me to do. So I have people just literally standing next to me, like, just tell me what you need and I will get it done. And I found myself listening to myself like, wow, I kept saying the same thing. All right, pick up these chairs, put them here, put up this table, do this, make sure this is done, put up this, put up that. And I just started writing it down as I was going through the process since I got to stop for a minute. And I think a lot of times in our businesses, we do not get to just stop for a minute and think about what it is we're actually doing so that we can put it into place. And some things that people say are like, oh my gosh, it's going to take too much time. If I do that, if I do all of that, I might as well just do it myself. And it's like, yeah, you might as well just do it yourself and continue to do it yourself. And then that's where burnout comes out, right? So the plan or the purpose of it is that you do it this one time, you perfect it, and then you can pass it on and teach someone else so that you no longer have to do it yourself. You can start doing something else. And I always say we spend a lot of time working in our business and not a lot of time working on our business. And it's the working on our business that makes us CEOs of our business. In other words, we're just glorified employees. So next slide, please. So for those who do not know me, I am Athenia Rodney. I am CEO and founder. And CEO comes, like I just said, with titles, meaning that you're managing different operations and you're helping things to move along. So I like to express the difference because a lot of people will say, yeah, I'm a CEO of my business. And when you're a solopreneur, that doesn't really ring true because you're not managing anyone. So that is part of what a difference is. So understanding SOP, standard operations and procedures. So many entrepreneurs, like I shared, dream of growth. But the truth is you can't scale chaos. And that is exactly what we have um been operating in when we are constantly just working on the one side of our business and not expanding to the other areas. And welcome, Jean and Dr. Was that Dr. Per Inc. and Rashida and Kathy. Thank you for joining us in this space. So if your business depends solely on just you as a function, you'll always be stuck. That's why today we're diving deep into what SOPs are and how it can free up your time and give you more time back so that you can do those things, go on vacations. Um, I always share the one time that I guess, officially became a CEO and I hired some staff so that I could go on vacation. And I actually enjoyed it. Like I actually was present for my vacation. And my husband was like, you don't have a phone call to make? You don't like you're like, where's your phone? And I was like, it's up in the room. And we're like on the beach. And he's like, oh my gosh, what did you do with my wife? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So just thinking of that change, that was just something that was very present and very part of me. And having to shift my own mindset so that I wasn't constantly, on the phone. And literally my staff had to tell me like, all right, we got this, like go, bye, like leave us alone. So that is very real. That it creates chaos when you're constantly feeling like you have to be present and in the midst of it all. So it helps to ensure consistency and quality in business operations across different models. If you think of, well, let me ask you, where have you seen SOPs present, or have you seen SOPs being present in your day to day? So think about places that you may go, think about your own work, establishments that you may go to, whether it is, I don't know, um, restaurants, public institutions, schools, like is there any particular SOP that you might have experienced or seen that someone wants to share in this space?
Yeah, Athenia, I'll share. This is Chantel. Like I mentioned before, so being a part of Spirit of a Woman, Be the Tree, we have a few programs that we want to make sure that we can hand over that institutional knowledge and also have a space where we're organized and we have a prep list and we can check through things so that it's recorded somewhere. And then as we switch roles and people switching out, there is a foundation for people to look back on. We're also working on this for Speak Move Change and Postpartum Awareness Week because we're growing so fast in all of these areas. And things have switched and advanced over time that we want to keep that somewhere that's grounded that we can refer back to. If anything happens to anyone, you can go into this document that houses the step-by-step playbook, I would say, of what to do and how to do it. And I think that's the most important part, like how do I do it, that step-by-step and how detailed you are to help the next person with moving things along.
Yeah. Thanks, Shan. Yeah, that is very powerful and what you shared. And it's like, yeah, that especially with scaling, right? You want to make sure that the person who is in your immediate care or who you dealt with is going to get the same care than if somebody else does it. So that replication part for sure. So thanks for sharing, Shannon. Anyone else?
Of course. And then we have Kaisha and then Kathy.
Hello, good morning, Kamisha.
Yes, good morning. So I was going to mention,
Uh-oh, we lost you, Kaisha.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was me. All right, Kaisha, we'll come back to you. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Oh, you might be
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Now we can. We didn't hear you after you first said good morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
You just
Sorry.
said
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. So I was saying the military is very heavy on SOPs. Especially for me, I work for them and I'm a stakeholder slash customer to certain services. So for example, just to get clarification, because I do email the cargo movement, because I ship equipment out a lot, and I email the cargo movement section on the nearest base that I live that I work close to, I sent them an email. Hey, can I get your SOP because I have a lot of questions. And I want to know what is your standard, what's your hours of operation, and I even challenged the SOP. Says, hey, you say you accept customers from 7 to 11, but your SOP says 7 to 3, so please clarify. And so I get sometimes the military SOPs could be outdated, but it's still good to question and to challenge if what they're telling you in the email is different from the SOP, because not everybody follows the SOP. So, and
Very
I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You mentioned two very important things. The regularity of updating your SOPs, right? And making sure that it is still in alignment. I usually say every quarter is ideal for updating an SOP. And again, if you have SOPs in place and you are usually people will do it when they have a new staff member or a new person that joins, and they have the staff members asking questions and like, oh, you know what? We don't do that anymore. So that's usually the time when that is not the best time, because when especially a new hire comes on, they want to know that you got things together for the most part, even if you know. So just taking a look at those things before you do the hire would be ideal, so that you can make sure that they are consistent. And you mentioned something else that I wanted to mention. I didn't write it down. Um, you said the military is one of those individuals, and like, yeah, absolutely. They have thousands and thousands of people that they need to onboard, they need to bring into a space, and they need to train them on their way of thinking, their way of teaching, their way of operating, their way of responding to things. So those are all great suggestions and thoughts. And you said it was somebody else?
Yes, Kathy.
Awesome. Hey, Kathy.
Good morning.
Mm.
I worked for a large corporation, Liberty Mutual, and they had many, many SOPs, for every little tiny thing. And some were legal, we were legally bound to follow. So they weren't really ours. They were the state's SOPs that we had to incorporate and follow and adhere to. And some were, operational, and some were the company SOPs that we had to follow strictly. And also, I wanted to mention WOO. In the beginning, we were all like establishing those and writing the manuals and the procedures and the step by steps, and the onboarding changed many times as we found the need to go through the procedure to make everything efficient. And yeah, I mean, I think it's different in every industry that I've found. And yeah, I think it's very, very necessary to have that so people are consistent. And when you don't have that, things look very, very sloppy. You can even think about it in terms of a restaurant. If you don't follow a recipe, or people aren't doing the same thing, giving the same amount, portions, and so forth, then I don't think we think of that as a standard operating procedure, but it actually is. And I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, that was great. And yes, everything. I mean, I remember going to where was it? I went to a Caribbean restaurant. I can't think of the name right now, but I would see the employees like counting the pieces of meat that they like put on a plate. And I'm like, really? Is that serious? And it's like, yeah, it is that serious. Down to the last kernel. Or when I go to certain restaurants, they weigh the meat that they're putting on your food, so that everyone is getting the same amount of pounds. So all of those things are definitely a part of the SOP. One of the things that you mentioned was it can be as small or as large, and you're right. down to how we take out the garbage, right? Can be an SOP, like how we are, how you want your staff to take the garbage out, where you want the garbage to go, what time you want the garbage to go out. Like all of those things go into place as far as you identifying what an SOP is. Shan, any other comments
Yeah.
or ideas before we move on?
All right. Let me see. So I also wanted to add my stuff and then I'll start the chat. Sometimes SOPs can be triggering, like the request for them, because there was a time when I was at a job and they were like, "We need your SOP, we need your SOP," and then they released me. And it's like, so now you want to know how to do everything so you could give this to somebody else. Great. So that happened. And then also wanted to say, Kathy mentioned that there were like legal ones, corporate, that like things that came from corporate and stuff like that. So not all SOPs are created equal. So I love if you would, I hope you're going to touch on like different formats and what that looks like, because like what should be included in them, if even like if it's a Word doc versus a platform that you're using, right? But yeah, how we can put certain details into them to help the next person.
Yeah, I definitely have been there in those spaces where it's like, oh, I need you to put this down. I need you to write down everything, write down your
Everything.
and not and I that person. I'm like, I need you to write down your stuff. I'm like, that's a key word that you about to get fired.
Exactly. I need all the things you do, how you do them, how great are you on paper. And oh, sorry, but we gotta let you go, girl. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So sometimes it's triggering for me, like, why you gotta know everything I'm doing? What do you mean? So I just wanted to put that in the space. So Tiffany said, I worked for 25 years in retail management. I can cite SOPs, chapter and verse. And then she also said, if you think about it, families run on SOPs. And Kaisha said, technical writing is a work position in some companies. Tiffany, can you share? Well, there you go. You're ready. Talk a little bit more about the SOPs and families, like this is bedtime and dinner time, all that stuff.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to touch on is the whole retail management thing. And in 2021, one of my last organization that I worked for as far as retail did a quote unquote realignment. If you know anything about corporate culture, that word realignment means tree shaking eliminations, right? They about to prune and trim the fat and all that other stuff. And I happen to be the fat. However, because my job was very operational and it was in customer service management, and I did things specifically in my store, they literally, in the 30 days after they told me that I was leaving, can you make sure that you teach everybody how it is that you do the thing? And when I say, I was sitting there in my head, I'm like, no, I'm walking out of here like Angela Bassett did after she set that car on fire. Like, no, the whole store can burn in hell. I don't give a F. No, y'all cannot know how I did things so effectively and efficiently. But then at the end of the day, it was like, you know what? No, I'm better than that. And I'm not going to need this. And even if they know how I do it, they still not going to be able to do it how I do it. It's like having grandma recipe for the macaroni and cheese or the potato salad. You just got to sprinkle into the ancestors tell you to stop. And so you can give me an SOP and I'm going to implement it into the ancestors tell me to stop. Because what works in when you work for a large corporation, the SOP is standard across the org, regardless of whether it's a small door or a large door, it's the same. And the truth of the matter is, when you're in the real world, SOPs that work in a small door do not work and apply in a large door. And people get up into the corporate Ivy Tower and they forget that. So I taught them what I did and how I did it. And to this day, that store is trash. But when I was saying about the family running on SOPs, it made me think about my mother. My mother was very militant. Like, dinner was on the table at a certain time. Kids got up for school at a certain time. Chores were done at a certain time. Like, and literally, like, every night chores had to be done. Kitchen clean, and the kitchen getting clean was more than just the dishes getting washed. It meant the stove had to be wiped down, the food had to be put away. Don't put her pots in the refrigerator because she's gonna need them for the next day. Put them in the Tupperwares. Wash the pots, clean that. The kitchen wasn't clean until you sprayed Fabuloso in the sink and wiped it down, swept the floors, all that other stuff, and the trash was taken out. That was an SOP, like, because if my daddy went into the kitchen and something wasn't done right, you was getting woken up. He don't care what time you got up for school the next morning or whatever it is. He was waking you up to go and fix what it is. And it taught discipline, but it also taught structure. And she had to do it this way because it was like 19 kids and only 3 or 4 adults in the house. So she had to run it like that. So we all use SOPs in our everyday life, including within our family. So don't get caught up with the acronym and what the meaning of the word is. Just know that you're already doing it in some scale, form, or another. And I'm complete.
Oh, you said a mouthful. I was like, yeah. So first of all, I need you to pass over that SOP for the kids, right, for the house, because the way you just said, I need that in my life right now. So,
Good for me too, because my kids' chores, when I tell you my kids who play garbage Jenga, I be like, what's that? Like, toss it and then run away because if it falls on the floor and they didn't see it, it don't count.
Not garbage Jenga. Let's see if you can follow it up
really,
with that.
I love that. So that's garbage Jenga. My kids definitely do that as well. I'll be waking up. I've definitely tried the whole wake them up afterwards and clean, but then it's like it still don't get done right. But I'm like, I think we're gonna do this whole. I'm gonna write out a SOP for how the kitchen needs to be cleaned every night, and we're gonna start an hour early. So that's gonna be our trick. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna let y'all know how it goes.
Don't tell them you got it from Miss Tiffany. I don't need them giving me death stares.
No worries, no worries. I'll be like, you remember that lady? I'm like, no, Auntie Tiff, yeah. So thank you everyone for sharing. That was really good. So as you can see, SOPs are definitely in a lot or baked into a lot of things, and we don't even necessarily know that we are experiencing them or doing them. Sometimes they are written and sometimes they are verbal, sometimes they are just inherent, like things that you ways that you do things. Even someone mentioned Tiffany had mentioned about making macaroni and cheese. So if you think about like holiday dinners and how, people come over, mom is in the kitchen, somebody's doing this, somebody's cutting that, like all of those things are part of the process that goes into creating it. So what are SOPs essentially being used for? So as an entrepreneur, it helps you to one to free up your time, which we kind of discussed, right? It helps you to know what's coming next, to know what's in place, what happens, and especially when you're being able to when you're sharing that information with other individuals, it helps you to delegate it so that people are like, oh, well, who you think you are? Why are you telling me this? Um, One of the things, so my husband just started back at Home Depot, and he's been he was a store manager, and now he went back after a while, and now he's an associate. So one of the things that he's experiencing is like he has been doing this for so many years, for over 20 years, that it's innate in him. So when he walked in the door and he's like just going to work and starting to do things, like other associates are like, you an undercover CEO? Like, how do you know how to do all of that? You just started this week. So, it is a part of your makeup and how you start to transition your movements and what you do. Improves efficiency. It helps to make sure that things are documented and make sure that I think someone mentioned being able to go back, Haisha, and see like, oh, this is the time that you said that you opened or that you're open until, and then seeing that it's not what's actually happening, it helps with efficiency to make sure that again that things are happening in the same place, the same at every location, the same. So things can be done faster. So you have a time schedule. Okay, this should take you no more than 2 or 3 minutes to complete. It doesn't take you 10 minutes to send an email or to craft an email, especially if you use the AI. Like this is how you go about doing it. So figuring out ways to kind of do things. It helps to lessen the number of mistakes that are happening as well, so that that, again, things are being done the same way in different places. Ensure consistency. SOPs guarantee that tasks are performed the same way, maintaining quality and brand standards. So you're talking about creating your business. Shan had mentioned Woo and other things that Shawnee is building out, right? So if we have what's going on here in New York and we are trying to create it in Georgia and trying to create it in California and Texas and in Ghana, there needs to be a brand standard that people can expect that when they join, no matter where they are, that's what they're going to get. When we go to fast food restaurants, right? Like Chick-fil-A, that's a number one brand that I think everyone is loves because it's like every time I go, the customer service is a 10. And they work very hard at making sure that the customer service is always a 10. And those are the kind of brand standards that you want to make sure that your business has across the board. And then again, like we talked about scaling on, I just shared, being able to document the process makes it easier to expand and onboard new team members so that they know what to do when they get in. They start and they're like, oh, what do I do? It's like you think it's counterintuitive because everyone's been doing Zoom, but it's like, yeah, you have to press unmute or you have to, open the Zoom room or put in passwords. Like all of the steps that go into it is what needs to be included. All right, next slide, please. So what are the components of a well-written SOP? So some of the big ones are purpose. What is the reason behind why you're creating the SOP? What are you trying to get across to the person that you are offering it to? The scope, what task or processes does the SOP need to cover? So if you're looking at, again, like a maintenance standpoint, being able to take out the garbage, to clean the floors, to sweep the floors, to mop the floors, for sanitization purposes. Like during COVID, SOPs were very popular that they started coming out everywhere because it was like we need things to be cleaned this way in order to say that we are COVID friendly. And so just thinking about what your process or what your purpose, your scope, what was the reason, the end result that you're looking to have, um, for putting this SOP together. The responsibilities, who is responsible for carrying out which task? So being able to outline, the manager will approve this or the associate will do this. For example, when we talk about like going into a classroom, especially when you have two co-teachers in the classrooms, right? You have one teacher who might be responsible for doing the aim, and I don't even know if they do aims anymore, but putting the aims on on the board, and then you have another one who is at the door who's welcoming all the students. So being able to know who's going to be responsible for what is going to be very important. Step-by-step instructions, clear, actionable steps for completing the process. And it may be real redundant, and I always say that it may feel very like rudimentary, like, oh, everybody knows how to do this. Always err on the space. If you were teaching your 4 or 5-year-old or how to do this particular process, what exactly would you be telling them? So break it down to as simple terms as possible. People could always skip over the parts that they don't know, but you want to make sure that people know it because you might think, oh yeah, everybody's taken out a garbage before, but what if they was living in the jungle all their life and they never even seen a garbage? We don't know what people's backgrounds are, and it leaves a lot of room for assumptions, and we know what assumptions do. So we don't want to do that, right? So we want to say, oh, there's a receptacle or a large round item that you are going to put a plastic bag on top of that fits the size of it. Bring it around the sides, put a rubber band on it so it doesn't slide down. Like all of those are different pieces that you want to include in that. Resources, tools, software, or materials required. So what are we using to be able to do that? Like I mentioned in the garbage scenario, I don't know why I keep using the garbage scenario, but I think because the garbage is next to me, and this is the most simplest thing I can think of, right? Having a garbage bags, having the garbage pail itself, having a way to be able to close the garbage. If people don't know how, maybe someone doesn't know how to tie a knot. Like when I was teaching my son how to take the garbage out, like he was like, "Ma, can you tie this for me?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I gotta tie this every time." So this is gonna still be part of my job. Like I wanted to just be for you. So I had to teach him how to tie a knot. So, the things again that we think that are not as easy or as simple are. Um, and then where was I? So resources, troubleshooting, what to do if something goes wrong. So being part of it is also having the what ifs, because things are not going to always go as you plan, right? I can put the garbage bag in the garbage and the garbage bag rips. So what do I do? Do I just leave the garbage bag there, or do I take the garbage out and do I replace it with another one? So just being also able to help someone to identify where there is an issue and how to fix it so that you don't have to, again, always be present to be there. And then last, review and update, regularly review and update SOPs to ensure relevance. So like I shared before, every quarter is typical and that's ideal. I know that is not always in retrospect, but if you can do it every quarter or at least every year, so that you are, because things change, life changes, things move. They might have come out with a new type of garbage that automatically changes the garbage for you, the garbage bags, and all you need to do is put in a roll of garbage bags at the beginning, and then the rest of the month it changes. Especially now with AI, things are happening really fast. So I'll pause there to see if there are any comments or questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's because Tiffany triggered you with the trash Jenga, the garbage Jenga.
Yes, that's probably what it is.
Keep rolling with it. It's working. Let's see. Teresa has her hand up, but I was also gonna say sometimes you get into it so much, you've been in your role so long, you're like, damn, how do I do that? And you move so fast, and then you got to track what you've been doing so that other people can replicate it as well. But Teresa.
Peace and blessing. I was going back to the dishes again. I
Okay.
remember when we was kids, like my mother showed us how to wash dishes, um, being around people and see how they wash this. I'd be like, that is so nasty because that's what I've been saying in my mind. That's so nasty, but it's because like my mother had like a SOP about how to wash the dishes. Like you had to wash the silverware first. No, no lie, you had to wash the silverware. Then the dish. You did not put pots in the sink with the dishes. So that's like a SOP. But the other thing I talk about is that like I'm be doing a workshop on gardening, right? And so one of the things about when you're doing gardening is that you have to make sure that the ground is a certain temperature. Like, and
Mhm.
so I was studying, different stuff about the garden, and I forget about that because if you put plants in the ground before it's too cold, it could affect your growth. So even something like we're doing a garden, like you have to, like, at the end of the garden season, you have to clean out, your bin that you have the garden, and then now they have, like yesterday I was looking, I saw a mulch, like a portable mulch. I've never seen a portable mulch ever in my life. It's portable mulch
Wow.
that put all your food in it, and it turns into dirt. And I was like, wow, that is so deep compared to the old fashioned mulch that they used to have. They used to have a mulch where you pull your food and then you got to go in there with all the worms and stuff like that. But this new thing actually churns all the food that you put in into dirt, and I'm like, wow, that's deep. So it's like they're preparing us even to get ready how to take care of your garden, because when you use mulch and you think that's the best food, even like people used to use cow manure as a thing,
Mhm.
to make the garden, grow. But, like, and they sell it and it smells horrible, but what it does to your, thing. But just knowing, like, having an SOP on how to be a good gardener, is so important. And so, and we need to do it, family. I'm telling you, because the fruits and vegetables going to be high. So, y'all need to join, figure out to do, but come and join the class because we're going to show you how to create gardens in home as well as that. And so I'm getting my SOP ready for y'all so y'all can get some garden to tips to know how to have an indoor garden, even an outdoor garden. And I'm
Yeah,
complete.
I love that, Teresa. And one of the things that I share, because I do marketing workshops, and just in alignment with what you were just saying, when we're doing workshops and trainings and things like that, some people learn differently, right? So I might be in a workshop and I might hear what's going on, and somebody is notoriously going to be like, "Oh, can you send me these slides?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but the slides just have bullet points, like they don't have like the content in it." And that is part of what you can create on the side. So like being able to create that SOP as an additional, or even to charge for that. So like to be like, hey, for $20, I can send you the full SOP on how to go through this process. I know we've gone through it here, but this is, in plain view what's happening. The SOP has some of the ways to deal with things. It has resources. It has how to troubleshoot if issues happen. So just a thing to think about, Teresa, to add to that. Any other?
I do charge for it. So the fact of it, what you're saying is add more, but just the fact is that there's so many tools out there to make your garden grow. It's not as expensive what people think. So that's what I'm, excited about, that I can show them how to grow stuff,
Yeah,
in such a low cost thing, like right in your home. You don't have to be outside. So, to
I
have you
love
some
it.
good food, in your home.
I love it. And I
I'm trying to,
am
anybody got any chickens? Brown chickens?
in the city. I don't know about that.
No, no, they got a farm out here by my house. I gotta go see if they still got, but I need some brown chickens because eggs is $15 a dozen.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting me some chickens and putting in my yard just so I can have me some eggs and sell them. So I totally understand. Thank you, Teresa. Shan, any other comments?
Yeah, I was thinking of what is it called? The Office, and then Tiffany alluded to it as well from Philadelphia, and they're like, explain it to me like I'm four. And so Tiffany also said, because common sense ain't so common.
That
And
part.
I'm now that I'm thinking back, we were learning this in grad school. Well, I learned it in grad school, because I was a grad assistant, but like for the RAs, we were doing res life, and they were trying to teach all of us how to write incident reports. And so now
Mm,
that I think about it, they use the analogy of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So Ben, back to the recipes and step by step. So everybody's making this peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you're listening to the directions from someone else. So if they miss anything, but like we're turned around and they're telling us how to make it. So everybody's peanut butter and jelly sandwich came out differently, because there wasn't like this standard order of operations or instructions on how to do it, right? And so it just showed like how detailed you have to be, and how different everyone is who's using what you're sharing with them, how the instructions are. Do people need a visual? Do they need like photos next to it, right? So when I used to work in restaurants in high school, there were pictures of what to do, what not to do in the handbook. And then versus if it's just words, then you might lose a few people. But those photos can be examples to help people. So different learners, for that, maybe you do a voiceover, like tutorials. I learned that at my previous job, doing a tutorial and a screen share is helpful, putting photos in, the voiceover. And even now that I'm thinking about it, maybe adding some FAQs. So if people are not clear on what's going on, if they have questions, you could put that in there as well. So they're like find the answers to their questions along the way.
Yeah, I love that. My favorite thing to do is use Loom. If you're not familiar with Loom, with my staff, they'll be asking me a question like, "How do I do this?" And I'm like, and I'll be like, "All right, let me just do a Loom." And I'll be like, "Okay, so you see this, you press this button and it drops down, and then you press this and then it goes." So even when I'm doing the planning for Juneteenth, right? And someone asks, "How do I find how to be a volunteer?" And I could just be like, oh, go to the website and look for volunteers, right? So I'll do a Loom for them and I'll have that as a recorded. And then I end up uploading that onto my page so that whenever someone has a question, it'll send them automatically that link so that they can find out how to be a volunteer. So again, it helps so that the people who have that question, now I don't have to answer that question. It'll automatically share them a video. So again, see how it helps with one creating dealing with the problem, right? Where someone had questions and you think again that common sense is common, just go to the site at the very top of the screen. It says volunteer, just press the button. But not everybody is as has as much common sense as we might think. So next slide, please. Well, thank you all for sharing that. And I love that. Yes, share if you are teaching to a 4-year-old.
Yeah, and I was saying, or maybe everything's not so intuitive to people as well, or if you're not tech savvy, you do have to teach it as if they're four and go back. That's what I was saying, like things that just come to us, we're like, yeah, just go here, go there. People like slow down. I don't know what you're saying. So yeah, definitely those different learners as well. But are you gonna show us how Loom works, or can you eventually tell us like is it just a recording and then they'll turn it into an SOP, or is that
Oh, sure. So the way Loom works is it's a I want to say an app for so Loom is a I guess it's a online program. You get maybe 30 free sessions. It'll do about up to 2 minutes, I think, of recordings. So basically you would press it, it will record your screen. And it has like a little window on the side that kind of shows your picture as the speaker. And it basically will be recording your screen and everything that you're doing on your screen. So if you are making a circle around something, it's going to show that. If you're pointing to something and opening it, it'll show that. So it's a great tool for being able to share information with individuals so that they can see it in real time. Like I said, being able to go to the website, show that this is what's happening on the website, seeing the drop down happen, then going to the place where they need to press the button, that opening up and then showing them like, hey, this is where you would go to complete your information and put your name and stuff like that. So it's a real great tool. I have it downloaded on my computer. I also have it on my phone. So it just helps to be able to do a number of things. And some phones, I'm an Android user, but some phones have that as a capability as well, where you can record your screen and what's happening so that you can show people. So I know it was helpful. Someone has shared with me, like I had sent them a link and they were like, oh, it's coming out, the words are coming off the screen. And I'm like, but it's not happening on my side. And so they were able to record their screen and showing me what they were doing. And because they were able to do that, we were able to fix the problem because everyone's POS or everyone's system. So we just talked about Androids versus the iPhones and all of these different platforms that are out there. They show up differently. So we want to make sure that you have them in different ways so that people know how to use them.
That's true, like the conversion and the images and things like that. Oh, super true. Okay, and I was just geeking out, getting excited, like, yes, answer to my prayer. So I got to look into Loom. Appreciate that.
You
And
know about Loom? Oh my gosh, yes, girl.
heard of it, but I never used it, so I'm really excited. The nerd in me is really excited to look
And
into.
Loom is spelled Loom, so Loom.
Hmm. All right, and this one is share what's in the chat. Tiffany said most people, yeah, Tiffany, most people are combination learners. That's why most manuals have words and images, and people will still go on YouTube University, and then they will stumble through with trial and error, and they implement what they have seen, heard, and read. Yeah, and then you make it your own, right? And then you start your own SOP and manual. Absolutely. All right.
Very true. YouTube University for sure, for the win. And that's pretty much where Loom, I think, kind of got it from, so that it was instead of having to do like a Zoom, or I mean, it sounds like Zoom, right? That's probably where they got some of it from as well. So being able to just show your full screen and be able to share what you need to. So, thank you for that, team. So, examples of SOPs you can implement. So, we talked about client onboarding, right? Starting a new job, helping someone to start working with you, any number of things, having a child, having your child start doing chores. Like, those are all things that you want to have a step-by-step guide to be able to onboard them, to get them to idolize what you want them to do. Social media posting. Now, this is one that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh. So if you look at certain businesses, especially when you're in the business realm, and when I work with individuals on their social media, I start asking them questions and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, well, do you have a branding guide for your business? And they're like, what's that? And so a branding guide is what you would use before you even get started with your social media, because it helps to identify your colors, your fonts, And if there are certain pictures and things like that that you want to have happen, that is a part of your brand. So, for example, in my business, I hire individuals from the Philippines to work with me, and they will put together my social media posts. And one of the things that I'm very astute on is making sure that they are using people of color. I'm like, my business is focused on people of color. So I don't want to see posts that are people of different hues that they're using. And so every now and then they might put up a post and they'll be like, oh, Athenia, I couldn't find a picture of a person of color like throwing confetti in the air. I could only find a white person. And then I would say, well, then we don't use it, because that's not a part of my branding for my business. It's not a part of what I want people to see and engage with when they go onto my page. And so things like that are a part of creating your branding guide, right? Having certain colors. So like if anyone who has been in any of my sessions in the past, my colors are always going to be a red, white, and black. Those are my main set of my colors. So all of my slides, if you go to my website, it has it. If you go to my social media page, you'll see all of that as well, are going to be a part of that branding. Even with my persons, you can't see it, but I got my red on. I always have something on that's red. It might be my earrings, it might be my lipstick, it might be a shirt, my pants, it might be my hair, which I got to get back to. That's my birthday goal, to get my hair back red. So, but that is definitely a part of my branding. And so just thinking about your social media posts as well, their language, certain words that you may use. You might say, "Oh, that's dope," or as a response to comments on your page. That's consistency. That's something that people are expecting or looking for from you. So all of those kind of things are a part of your social media postings. So procedures for content creation. When you schedule them, are for me, when I was getting started with my event planning business, a lot of my customers, they were night owls because I was working with individual customers. So I know that late at night, between the hours of 11 and 2 o'clock in the morning, where I would get responses and I would get all these inquiries for my business. Do I want to be up 11 to 2 o'clock in the morning when I have children? I got to be at school at 7 in the morning. Absolutely not. So then those are things that I would have to put in place so that there are automations in place so that they can get the information that they need because my customers were responding during those times. And then when you're posting, um, based on algorithms, you want to understand when people are on your social media page or they're engaging with you, right? So are they mostly morning individuals? Like I just shared, my people were late individuals. So I had those that were late, which were my individual customers, and then I had my morning individuals, which were my schools that I would partner with. So on their way to school, they might be looking at or right before they start at work, they might go on my website and they start searching or on their phone and things of that nature. And then the tools, which we talked about with Shan, that they're looking at it on. Are they looking at it on a computer? Most likely not, because if they're in a school on their school computer, they may not have access to social media because they block those kind of things. So more than likely it'll be on their phone. So being able to know how your customers engage with you also will allow you to create an SOP on how you're doing your postings for them as well. Order fulfillments, guidelines for processing and shipping customers' orders. So if you have a product, this is a great space for you, right? So I was working with a company, they were doing candles, and the process, so I've never really had like a physical product that had to be shipped. So that was a learning experience for me, like going through with them. And they were like, yeah, so first I have to, get the bottles, I have to do all of this, and then I have to put the labels on afterwards. And I was like, well, why you put the labels on afterwards? She was like, because when I put the candle, the wax in the glass, it's hot. And if I put the sticker on first, then it might it'll the sticker might fall off because it'll start to melt because of the heat. And I was like, oh, that totally makes sense. But then, of course, I'm like, okay, so what about when the person does burn the candle? And isn't the sticker gonna fall off? She was like, yeah, it takes time for it to cure. So after it's been on the cup or whatever it is, the glass for a long period of time, then it'll be cured on, so it doesn't have that same effect. So just knowing again how to manage your fulfillment of your business. Others might have, especially right now, everything is kind of digital, right? Being able to send your book digitally to someone. So that automatic process there and what that looks like. And then lastly, invoicing and payments. And this is a big one for a lot of people. Detailed instructions on how to generate and send invoices and track payments, right? We think for my event planning business, again, it was one of those things that I was like, oh, everybody is unique and everyone has a different pricing. So it's difficult for me to just have certain things. And then I started creating each of them and outlining them. And I found that I was using the same things over and over again. I might tweak it here and there, but the outline, the main part of it was consistent. The other part with this, and I also add in the space, which is my baby automation, is if someone goes to your page and they don't check out, and how many people have gone to like a Express or Old Navy online and they put something in their shopping cart and then they got busy, whether you start doing dishes, cooking, pick up the kids, and then you get a message or either email or text message later saying, hey, you have stuff in your shopping cart that you didn't check out with. That is also a part of that invoice and payment process that you want to have in place. And that's where automation can kind of come and help you as well. So next slide, please. So we're going to get into steps to creating your own SOPs. And I know it's at a 5 minutes before 8 hours. So we'll take the time, if you have pen and paper, to be able to identify some things in your own life that you would like to create an SOP with, right? So identify repetitive tasks, list of tasks you and your team do frequently. So what is something that you would like to create an SOP for that you have not done in the past, but would think that having an SOP in place would be very helpful. And just think too, we talked about our children, but also for our spouses, for those who have spouses or partners who they live with. This is also another thing, right? Like how I put the groceries away, where I put the spices, where the milk goes. Like all of those are also a part of your SOPs, right? How you want your kitchen to look. So thinking about some of those kind of tasks, so not just in business, but also, as we talked about in your personal life, where things might show up that you want to have in place. Break down the steps. For each task, document every step in detail. Use clear language, write the SOP in simple, easy to understand terms, which we talked about, as easy if you were explaining it to a 4-year-old. Include visuals, add screenshots, images, flow charts if necessary. When I worked for McDonald's, they used to have, and I thought that would be really simple, but they had on the thing how to do the French fries, right? Put the French fries inside the basket, drop it in the oil, press the button so that the timer goes on. Once it's done, pull it up, turn it over, put salt on it, and shake it up. Like that is all like, wow, I remember that. That was like 25 years ago. But just having that as the process, that was all in pictures, like at each step that they wanted us to go through. So include visuals. Test the SOPs. Have a team member follow it have a team member follow the instructions, right? And then see a lot of times you'll be like, oh, you know what? Okay, I missed something. And I like that idea that Shan said. It's like, have people do make peanut butter and jelly, right? And it's like, okay, only do what the person is telling you to do. So, some people might not spread the peanut butter all the way to the end. Some people cut off the edges. Some people cut diagonal. Some people cut crust. So, how can you make it so that it's all the same? And then review and update. Keep SOPs updated as your business grows and changes. And I will pause for any questions or comments.
All right, we have Aisha with her hand up.
Aisha.
Hi. Okay. Yes, I was about to log off, but then when you were talking about creating the SOP, it triggered me because I think I have to. So, each unit, that I work with, we all logistic managers, but I'm a little bit more advanced than others. So they come to me for the procedure on how to turn in unserviceable material to our reutilization point. And it was just the other day, somebody came, we in the same office, but he came and got me. He was like, hey, I don't know how to sign up for, to have my name, permission, to ask for permission. You got to submit an application or whatever to turn equipment in. And the funny thing is, I couldn't remember what he was talking about. And I was like, I don't think I signed, this is just things that we were talking about. So I walked through the process. I was like, oh, it's this, is that, is this, that, and that. And then he was able to get it to work because it wasn't working for him when he, did it himself. So I was just thinking about that. Yeah, other logistic managers come to me all the time. I probably, when you said start from the very beginning, I probably need to start my SOP on how to turn broken equipment,
Yeah.
unserviceable equipment in. So yes, again, like I said, I was about to log off, but you drew me back in. So
Well, I
I always love this presentation. It's just a reminder. You've done it before, but it's always a reminder of what we have to do in our personal and professional lives. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I know a couple of people are going to have to leave shortly. I do want to share the offer. If you have not met with me already, I would love to meet with you and set up some time to do so. Also, next week, Monday, I am doing a marketing tidbit session. It'll be every third Monday. That'll be something that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be at 8 o'clock in the evening because I know a lot of people are trying to get their day going or ending, should I say. And I just want you to be present to that. So that is something that we are doing. We'll do 20 minutes of marketing information and tools that you can use. And then we'll do a networking where we'll go into breakout rooms with one individual. And you'll have about 5 to 6 minutes where you'll be able to get to know someone and put what you learned into practice. So that is something that we'll be doing every third Monday, and I'll drop that in the chat for those who are interested to sign up for that. But definitely look forward to connecting with those who I haven't connected with yet. And anyone else or any information, Shan?
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for dropping that in the chat, Athenia. And before we go to Teresa, I just want to share that Z put in the chat, one of the recommendations to increase the effectiveness of the various boycotts going on right now is to intentionally abandon your shopping carts, and then when they send you the reminder, tell them why you did it. Yeah, that's interesting. Using technology for that as well. All right, Teresa.
I was just thinking about how much SOPs have been implemented in Black families for a long time. I just didn't I never heard of this word before, so it's like we've always had a structure, like certain things you got to do, like on Sundays, like on Saturdays, you do your chores and then you can watch cartoons. So we've been having SOPs for a long time. I just didn't know what that word meant, and so I was thinking about how as a like it's the first time like I created or have friends show me how to do a calendar, and I created a calendar for a year. So the first time I ever did it, but it does make a big difference. Like it's a structure. So creating a calendar and knowing what you have to do. Like I'm doing an accountability thing for March, and every day like we're meeting every day, and so like I have to make time like put my thing, but we have certain things that we got to do every day, and so it's just really good because since collaborating with doing a friend of mine, I find that it's like an SOP because we have a structure and we set it up, and we have certain things we got to do, and so like we've created more stuff within these couple of 3 hours that we're working together than I would have created for the week. So and to be doing every day. So I'm getting a lot more done. And so I'm really, like just having that kind of accountability, it's like an SOP for me because I'm setting up so much stuff and just learning things and like learning new skills. Like some things I learned about Clapper. And Clapper is a really great tool, people, but also in Linktree. Linktree has a thing where you can add a store to Linktree, not just your store, but another store. So that was something new that I learned about Linktree. So I just learned so much doing this accountability, but it's so much stuff out there for us to and come even along with whatever business you have. So I'm excited, I'll be sharing some stuff with you soon, so I'm complete.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, you talked about a lot of different platforms and as we engage with platforms, that's how new businesses start because we're like, oh, this is missing in the world, so let me create it, right? And that is this process of helping us be to do things more efficiently, and to even with AI. A lot of people ask, like, one of the things that I do is I will help people train their chat GPT, right? And I think we did a session about that before. And people, one of the questions that we got during that session was, well, what questions what do I need to put in it? And I'm like, ask ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT knows how to train itself, right? So ask ChatGPT, how do I create an SOP for taking out the garbage? And it can do an outline for you. And then all you have to do is go through and be like, yeah, I want to keep that, that I don't, I want to remove that. So there are things that are out there that are there to make our lives a lot easier. And I did want to go back to what Z shared. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, that is one of the things that has been pushed, and it's actually been showing up on the metrics that I saw online as well. Where they're saying that a lot of abandoned carts are happening, a lot of businesses are people are going to or being removing themselves from their automation emails and text messages and stuff like that. So continue to keep doing it. If you are not, please get on the bandwagon with that, with these businesses that are not supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Any other questions and comments before we move on?
No, we're all set.
Uh-oh. Say that
That's
again.
grandma. I said no, we're good to go. Somebody is up. Here we go.
Got you. So we talked about the question is always like, what kind of tools, right, can we use for this? So we can go as rudimentary as Google Documents, and being able to just put on a Word document, like just step by step, like 1, 2, 3, this is what you do next, and so on and so forth. There is the Loom. That is what the logo looks like. So we talked about that, right? Being able to do the recordings of yourself as you're doing something and being able to put it in place as a link. So it will give you a live link that you can use. It also will tell you how many people have watched the Loom and like what areas. It also breaks it down into slits so that if there are different, like if you change topics while you're on it, it'll break it up so it can have the different topics. So Loom they've been integrating AI in that space as well. So it is a really great tool to be able to use, especially when you're sharing information to individuals. Trello, Asana, like those are great management tools. I use Trello. I put all of my information for onboarding into Trello because it's easy to just press replicate, and then I can share that replicated tool for, especially for onboarding. When people come on, I have them watch a series of videos of all of the different platforms that we utilize so they can become familiar with it. So it allows them to check off as they go through it. And then once it's complete, I know that they've done all of the onboarding process. So creating systems within that as well is also helpful. And then here I put my business AR business expansion because there are CRMs that we have in our automation platform that allows you to also be able to have the SOPs present. And then again, we use your SOPs to be able to create the process for you, right? What is your current customer's journey? When a customer goes to my website, they fill out an application, they get an automatic email and a text message. Then they get a follow-up email if they don't respond and a text message. Then if they purchase, then they get a thank you message. Like all of that is a part of a SOP or a process that I want my customers to go through a journey for me. Next slide, please. So we kind of talked about this and we've gone through a couple of onboarding examples already. So we can go to the next slide. Where we'll be talking about pitfalls. So common mistakes to avoid when doing SOPs. So overcomplicating instructions, right? So keeping the SOP simple and concise. I am, and I raise my hand on this one because I'm definitely the one that's going to be, I'm going to overcomplicate things sometimes. And my team will have to tell me, again, and sometimes you need to adjust your SOPs based on, like we were talking about, different people's learning styles, right? So um, I see things visually in my head as I am explaining them. So I'm like as I was just going through that process with you, I'm like, I'm seeing like this happen in an email and a text message is going to somebody. I'm seeing like them get this message and I'm seeing somebody like looking at it and they're like, oh, okay. I'm seeing how they're expressing themselves when they receive it. They're like, oh, this is dope. I got a text message. Oh, let me go look at the email. Like all of that is going in my mind when I go through the process. So sometimes I miss steps because I'm in the feeling in the emotion part of it and not in the okay, what do I actually need to happen next in order to make sure that what my point is going across, right? Failing to train staff. So ensure team members understand how to use the SOPs. So a lot of times we might just give them the SOP and do it like, all right, go ahead, go and learn this. And then we don't really sit down and go through it with them. And again, we talked about learning styles. Some people do need to read first and then kind of go through it. But I always say there's always room for error when we're writing, right? You always hear, don't, if you misunderstand a text message, pick up the phone and have the conversation. And that's because you can take wording incorrectly. You can take a phrase wrong, or, I could have said, depending on cultures, it could be interpreted differently. I could have said, put um, the plastic bag on top of the garbage, and somebody literally put the plastic bag on the outside of the garbage, and I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, are you stupid? Like, that's not what I meant. And it's like, yeah, but it said put it on top of the garbage, and it's like, no, I meant to like push it in and make sure there's no air bubble, like so depending on how people cultures are, it might be a difference. So being able to go through with them through the SOPs with your staff or your individual, your child, your partner, whoever it might be, so that they can ask questions in real time. It makes life a lot easier. And then they can go back to the SOP as a reference if they need to refer to something, or if they're like, oh yeah, I don't remember if what she said about that. It could be something that jogs someone's memory, right? Lack of clear ownership. Assign clear responsibilities for each SOP. So SOPs are what it takes to do a particular process. So like an opening procedure, these are all of the things that need to happen in the opening procedure or a closing procedure, or who's going to do what. So anyone who has done woo, right, there is something that the lead person has to do, a script that they have to read, and then there's something that the other person, the supporting staff member has to read, so that it needs to be outlined that's what the lead person, that's what the supporting person is going to do, so that they're not like, oh, I guess you can do this one, so being very clear on who is doing what, who should have ownership for what parts. And then not reviewing regularly. SOPs should evolve with your business, so review them often. And we talked about that, right? You could have when you started your business and your SOPs, you put out open and closing hours are from 9 to 6 and on Monday through Friday. And then you started and say, I want to have a 4-day work week. So we're no longer going to work on Fridays, but you still have that in your SOP, and that's what's going out to everyone who are looking it up on your website and things of that nature. So being able to review them so that you can make changes as possible. And I will definitely say this, one thing that I have experiences that in our community, in the Black community, this is a big issue, right? You'll go to a store and they're closed, or you go online and you're like, oh yeah, I'm hungry, I want to go to this restaurant, and you get all dressed up and go do what you got to do, and then you go to a restaurant to see that on the door it's like, oh, we're closed on Sundays, and I'm like, why you ain't put that online? Like, I just wasted my time. I just drove for 45 minutes to get here and now it's closed. Like, this is frustrating. So being able, that's, and then now you probably lost the customer because I'm like, I ain't never going to this place. So now every time somebody's like, oh, we got to go to so-and-so restaurant, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, every time I go there, there's an issue. They don't have this, they don't have that. They're not open on the time they say they're going to open. So just thinking about what those things are, what you put out there is what people are going to expect from you. Next slide, please. So lastly, we're going to go into how to implement SOPs successfully, right? So start small, focus on creating SOPs for the most time consuming or repetitive tasks first. So what is the thing that takes up the most of your time that you would like to have dealt with first? I have stickies all around, right? That says, what is the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, eliminates other things or makes things unnecessary to happen, right? So that is my prompt for what I need to put in place to create an SOP for, so that I can pass that along to someone else and then I don't have to do it. Involve your team. And I know not in the way that we shared earlier, right? When we're like, all right, I need you to create an SOP for your role. Because like Shan says, it becomes triggering. It's like, okay, what does that mean? Are you like about to fire me? Or are you about to, move me to a new position or promote me? Like, what exactly is this about? So, but get feedback from them, help start building it out, get feedback from your team, or ask them to write it out and then give them feedback on how you can improve it. I would definitely say to do this earlier on, not later on, where you're looking at letting people go or things of that nature, but have this as something in place and create a system where it's something that you're doing maybe every quarter on a certain date, every 3 months or every year, so that you know that this is going to be our review day. Train and empower. Always put people in place who can walk other people through. So I usually get interns every summer for the SYEP program. And this is where I'll put together new SOPs, right? And then I'll have my team do the training for the SOPs. It empowers them. It makes them feel really good because I feel they feel like they've been here long enough, even if they just started a month or two ago. They're just like, oh my gosh, like, you gave me that power to be able to train someone else or to teach someone else. And it also allows me to see what they know and what they don't know, as well as I'm participating in that process with them, or what I need to create an SOP for, because it's something that is maybe still a problem or still something that needs to be worked on. Monitor and adjust. Keep an eye on how well the SOPs are working and make adjustments as needed. So again, like I said, I use Trello. So we have all of our SOPs inside of our Trello. And very often, like if there's a change in a password or something like that to get into a particular platform, I'll share with my team, hey, change this one to Trello. Please make sure this is updated, so that there's some consistency in what's happening in space. I'll stop for a moment. Any questions or comments?
Okay, so let me see. Teresa dropped in the chat the Clapper app. And I wanted to share, you said about culture, and especially if you're working with more people who are overseas, making sure that they know like the culture, not only the culture of the country, but the culture of your business, like you were mentioning, telling them what you're looking for, what your vision is, who your people are, your demographics. And also now that we are onboarding more interns, we're learning like there's a gap between what we're saying in meetings and what they know. So reminding them to stop us, like if there's any jargon or shorthand or abbreviations that we're like, hey, Paul, SMC, and they're like, what is that? Or BTT, like, so we have to scale back. Just like what I said before, when we do our SOPs, it's like you have to start and act like they're 4-year-olds and people who do not know your culture. So if you put abbreviations in your SOPs, people are not familiar. So explaining that the culture of your organization and what you're talking about, because it's simple to you all who've been in the game for a while and just spitball these things and they're like, I can't keep up. So making sure that it's as clear as possible. And Gina has her hand up.
Absolutely.
Yes, greetings. I was just you said comment, so I just have a comment. I was just thinking how this also applies to someone like me who's just you're your only person, you're the whole team. And how you still need SOPs, like because there are a lot of repetitive tasks, there are a lot of things, and there's little steps that sometimes if I forget a little step, it throws off the process. I have to start over or go back, and it just slows me down. So I'm just really appreciative. And yes, like Kaisha said, you do this all the time and always get something new out of it. So thank you, and I'm complete.
No, thank you. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, even and especially when you're doing it by yourself, because once you write it down, you're able to identify where you might be able to change and put something in place for that, right? So it could be, I think we talked about last time, it's, I'm constantly checking emails. I'm finding that I'm getting a lot of spam in my emails. So, or from a particular company, you can do a filter so that they all go into a particular email account, and that you only will check those emails certain times. And Gmail actually ended up doing a filter system where they did that at one point. I don't know if they still do that, but they usually have one that used to be like promotions, and then one that was just like regular, emails that were directly just to you, things and that kind of nature. So, there are, especially right now with technology is advancing so much that identifying where your issues are and then being able to go in Google search to find out if there's something out there that can help you with that issue is going to help you to be more efficient as an individual or solopreneur.
Right. And Tiffany has her hand up. I also want to add, you mentioned before that we spend a lot of time in our business than on our business. And for me, I'm seeing as on for me, it's more on our business, meaning I'm prepping instead of like acting and implementing. So I'm more of a generator than an implementation, like implementer, right? So I'm like, everything has to be perfect. I have all these facilitation outlines, I have all this schedule, and I have the breakdown of the year, da da da, but I have not hosted a session and I haven't implemented. So it's like I spend more time on my business than in my business. So it's the opposite for me. But Tiffany?
I'm laughing at you because I'm in that same boat with you, my sister, myself.
Yeah.
One of the other things that's been my experience, both in the corporate world, but also as somebody on the other end, like coming into to something or utilizing or learning a new SOP, is what the term I've learned is giraffe jargon, when you have to be versed in a language or lingo of an organization to really understand what they're talking about. So when you were talking about keeping it simple, I automatically came with that, that old acronym KISS, you know. But yeah, we have to make sure that as we create our SOPs and everything like that, we have to do it with the standpoint of, again, this person may not know exactly what it is that we're talking about, even if they know, like, because you come into an organization and what we do over at Juneteenth NYC is not what we do over here at So, and it's not what we do over here where I'm at. But again, it's still it could be the same for the same type of work or for the same thing. But if I speak it like this is how we do it in Juneteenth, New York, but that's not the lingo we use. And so I'm going to be lost. So just trying to share that we should eliminate wording and things that might be confusing to the person as they're learning.
Yeah, that was definitely, and funny enough, when I was creating the title, I put it in ChatGPT and I was like, give me some titles for as standard operation procedures, and it was like SOP with efficiency, and I was like, but people don't know what SOP means, so that's not going to work. So to your point, there are, especially in different businesses, I think in every business there are acronyms, and we do that to, I mean, that's how we learn, right? That's how we learn by by shortening things so that we can remember them a lot easier and to be able to for efficiency, for time purposes. Instead of saying standard operational procedures every single time, just saying an SOP helps to get the point across. So, but we become so jargon heavy that we forget. So, making sure that we're explaining that first inside of our documentation. So, thank you so much, Tiffany, for that.
Yeah, Teresa.
Hello, my love. So it's possible. Everybody talking about not getting stuff. So probably create a accountability, you know, place like a group or something, so we all can check in like once a week to make sure what we doing, or once every day, because um, it doesn't make no sense for us to have all these gifts and talents and we're not getting it out into the world. People need us and they need our services. So can we create that? So this way, like, because I could tell you, just doing this, like I've been doing it like every day, and it's made a big difference in my life. And it's challenging some days because I'll be like, damn, I gotta do this every day. Like, okay, so shut up, just do what just be quiet, do what you gotta do. But having it, like, I see more work is getting done. I'm getting more things. Like, and the thing what I like about on Linktree is that it gives you analytic stats, so it lets you know who's looking at your stuff. So let's do the show. I'm making an appointment next month to show you how to do it. But it's very nice, and I learned a lot of stuff from it. But we need that in our life because it's millions of people out here, and we have enough services that we ain't even got to compete. We just we can work together. Like, I might have something that vice reckon we can share our tools and get this workout. So I'm excited.
I
So
mean, that's what the platform is for. That's what Woo is all about. I mean, we do have the Woo um private group as well. So that can be a space that you can use to kind of do accountability and to check in with individuals. So
hmm
I think we do have things in place. I could be wrong, but there are a couple of things that we have in place either for the presenters to be able to share and to have conversation, and to hold each other accountable in that space, and for the wider public also, to be able to
yeah.
share and conversate in that space. But
Okay.
thank you for bringing that up, Teresa. Can you bring up the last slide before we go into any follow-up questions? So the last slide is about the benefits of SOPs, and we kind of talked about all of these, but just want to reiterate and kind of hit home, right? Having an SOP helps to increase efficiency, and we talked about different ways on how to be able to do that. Streamlining the process, reducing errors, identifying spaces where we might be in error or we're missing steps. Faster onboarding, bringing new team members up to speed quickly, and allowing them to also have a document to go back and to review in the event that they forgot something or they, tuned out. Everybody has ADHD now. They may have tuned out while you were teaching them a particular part, and now they have something to go back to review. Scalability. SOPs allow you to scale your business without losing control. That's the reason why we're able to open up McDonald's from here to Timbuktu, and still have a similar process in place, still have the same kind of feel, look, when you go into the space. It might be different things there based on culture, but for the most part, the same kind of metrics are being had in all of the different places. More time for growth. Focus on strategic growth rather than daily operations. So, putting time in your day, I always say, even at the very least, if you can put an hour or two into your day to work on your business. And for those who constantly work on doing the opposite, spend some time where you can work in your business so that you are also being able to grow your business. Because at the end of the day, it's about growth. That is why we go into business. Business is not, if it wasn't a business, then it would be a hobby. And that's with something that you're just doing for fun or because it's nice and, those kind of things. But if you really want to be in business for yourself, it is about growth and what you're putting in place to grow your business. And I think that is the last slide. So you can go. Any questions before we close out? Any questions, comments, thoughts about the process or how you might use or create your own SOP for yourself after watching this session?
Yes, 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 and thank you.
Awesome.
Even like a morning routine, I was just thinking about that. Like, what does your morning routine look like? That's an SOP. Anything with instructions, directions, a checklist, something like that. Um, and yeah, for me, I'm leaving here with thinking about how to make an SOP for my own advancements, right? So if I want to transition and advance to another role, how do I leave this role with integrity and make it so that people can um, have what they need to move forward? And also, what else was I going to say? Move forward and then adjust to how other people are going to learn from it and what would work best for the next person. Also, so I can move up. Thank you for this.
What you telling us, Shan? You about to leave? Like
I'm out of here, baby. No,
you still
no,
saying
I
something?
mean moving up the ladder, not out the house. Moving, I'm going upstairs. So how do
Yeah.
I make room for more people and to advance myself, leaving behind in like a previous role what they'll need so that I can move forward as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And integrity has been my word of choice for the last couple of years. So definitely, how do you, if you're working for someone, how do you do that with integrity so that you're not leaving them to kind of frolic and be like and try to figure it out? And I know, we might think on set like, oh well, they got to figure it out. But it's like, to be honest with you, they paid you for that. They paid
Right.
you
And it's their
to
property, some of them they say that.
exactly. They paid you to come into the space to help enhance it, to bring your expertise into the space to enhance it. And you want to leave it better than you got it, because then people can always refer back to you and be like, oh, so and so created this 10 years ago and it's still so helpful. So your legacy can continue to live on in spaces where you're not.
Right. And even if you are still there, stop bothering me. Look at the SOP. I already showed you how to do this and it's on paper. I'm doing some other things, right? So it frees you up, like you said before, for when the newbies come in or someone who is now transitioning into your role. It's like, it's here. I'll show you how to do it. But now you free up space for yourself to do the next thing. That makes sense.
Exactly. And yes, telling people to use the SOPs, because when you're constantly available, people will be like just asking you. And that is definitely what I was doing with one of my staff members as of recently. I was like, sis, it's in the SOP. Go look at it.
Page 3, please. I hyperlinked it. I tagged you in it. Please look at. And if you have questions, that's different. But yeah, that's so true. Or people who just leave, it's like with no notice, and it's like I don't know how to do your job. So that's also the triggering part for the owner, right? So now, for me, it was okay. Y'all letting people go, but on the other side, it's like, are you just leaving because now I don't know how to fulfill your role either. Tiffany.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting here laughing because we've created for my organization like an org facing dashboard, and every department can put whatever materials that they think are relevant to cross collaborative work and the things that they're doing on the dashboard. And we came up with these harmony codes on like how to work with the individual departments. And the one thing that was on everybody's harmony code was like, check the dashboard before you Slack me, before you email, before you come over here. Did you check the dashboard? Because I'm pretty sure what you're about to ask me is on the dashboard. And so it's one of those things where sometimes, regardless of how many SOPs we write and how simple we write them and how beautiful the graphics are and all these things here, sometimes people like to hear it come straight from the horse's mouth. Like they still want to like it's like my God. But yes, I love you too. Thank you.
And that's why I said, go through it with them, so that initially, if you go through it with them, and even that's not going to stop them, because I'm going through it with them, and then they be like, oh, what? They still asking how to do something. So I totally agree.
You gotta show grace, ladies.
And then my other favorite one, again, taking it back to my time in retail management and customer service, right? So the higher ups that create these SOPs would come into the store and they would ask the staff like, "Oh, do you know how to do this thing, or what happens when you do this thing?" And they're like, "I don't know. Nobody ever told me." And I be sitting there with my head to the side, looking at them like Kevin Hart, be like, "Oh my God, you did not just say that. You did not just say that. Don't say nobody told you. Say
You
you
are
didn't
right.
retain it because I told you."
You are something else.
I'll fight you.
Somebody look at this.
Take a deep breath, Tiffany.
Tiffany is
I
still
was about to say, tell my
triggered.
man, tell my man.
Tiffany is still triggered by this. She wanted to jump over that table.
Really is.
Yo,
Okay.
if I was on camera, y'all would see how animated I was. My curls was bouncing around all over the place. But yeah, I'm really sitting there like I'm blinking like this person. Oh, you out to sabotage me because my whole thing is based on whether or not I taught you what you need to know. And then so, with your Michigan J Frog ass.
Tiffany's still hurt.
Oh, Tiffany. Oh, Tiffany, boo. Take a deep breath, baby.
But that's real. Like you go through this. Like it's not
That
like you
is-
said, you didn't retain it. There's a big difference. And some people, it's like their self-esteem. I know for me, I was like, sometimes I need to hear from a person because I feel like I'm not doing it right. And I want to hear you say I am like doing it step by step. I'm getting this correct or perfect. So I have to release that as well for myself.
But I also think it's the pressure that we have on ourselves about not, being good enough because like somebody could show me something, but I was like, well, I don't think I know. And then they'd be like, Truth, you know it, like get on my face and leave me alone. I was like, okay, okay. I know, like Truth, you know it. Like, and that's what I think too. And we reassure people that you got this, like, cause that's what I feel sometimes like my granddaughter, I'm talking, she be like, Grandma, I was like, Boo, you could do this, let's do it. And then she does it. She's like, okay, Grandma, but I just think we gotta like stop. Sometimes I know I baby people, so I gotta stop that. So I'm learning to do better.
Yeah, you gotta trust yourself for sure. Trust yourself for sure. Well, thank you. I think there was another, I need to create Imani said I need to create SOPs for my early childhood staff. So I'll be implementing what you shared today, Athenia. Thank you for breaking down the process. You're very welcome. I hope this helped. I took this was something that I did do before and I expanded upon it because I wanted to, it is something that is very necessary and especially in my line of work and where I am working with individuals on marketing their business. We have to go back to some of the rudimentary things and understanding the different parts of our business because when you start marketing, you start bringing in more business and you will need to start hiring and you need to have things in place before you get to that place so that you're not like running around with a chicken without a head like oh my gosh my business is growing and I'm not prepared. So just putting things put in place, putting things in place, that was a tongue twister, putting things in place so that you can be prepared for what is to come. And there is a lot that is to come, so just especially in this new administration and what's happening in this world right now, we need to be forethought and thinking ahead and not being reactionary to what's happening in the world today. So I will leave you on that. Here is my contact information. If anyone would like to follow me, please go to my Instagram and or my website. We have arbusinessexpansion.com where we talk about all of the different platforms and the different things that we do offer. And one of the things that I was asked earlier on today is what exactly do I offer? So I'll also drop that in the chat as well. This is the link to my cart that has all of the different services. So I do marketing and coaching for individuals, market coaching for individuals who are looking to expand their business. And it is something that is affordable, is within your reach. So I definitely try to work with individuals on that. Social media management. So if you have a platform that you're looking at, and need help with managing social media. We do individuals all the way up to corporate. So we have a couple of churches that we manage their social media pages, and that is also a process. We do networking landing page. So if you do a lot of networking and you go to a lot of different events, this is an opportunity for follow up that you don't have to worry about. Because that is everybody, I think, Achilles heel, right? You go to networking, meet a lot of great people, and then it's the follow up, getting people on your calendar, having a conversation that's a little bit more in depth with them. This networking landing page will help to do all of that for you. So you will put their contact information. It'll send them an automatic email and text message reminding them, hey, we met at this event. We met at Woo. And I want to set up time to meet with you. Here's my calendar. They will put something on the calendar. It will go onto your calendar, and you will get a reminder. They will get a reminder for that meeting. So it does a lot of that work for you and takes things out of that process of, oh my gosh, I still need to figure out or follow up with this person. Social media management accounts, where it's a platform that you are able to manage all of your social media in one space, which is a big challenge for a lot of us who do have Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, like all of these different platforms. This allows you to see everything and respond in that same space. So there are platforms that are out there, but it doesn't allow you to respond in a platform. And also it allows for automation, so automatically to respond to individuals. So if somebody says, hey, I'm interested in being a vendor at your Juneteenth event, put vendor in the chat, it'll automatically send them a DM with the link to join to be a vendor. Do-it-yourself funnels are also another process that we offer, which is within our ARB platform. And then lastly, the ARP account, which is done for you, which my team will put it together for you. So we'll help you build out a funnel for your business and to be able to automate life for you and make things easier. So just some of the things that we offer and some of the services that we provide. But again, the biggest part is really just starting with understanding your business so that you know how to market it better and you can get the business to come through the door.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Athenia. You offer so much. So we need to know about it for sure. So we could big you up and share your name in rooms where you are not and get you this work. All right. So your special offer.
Yes, so I have a free marketing manual that I will send you. It helps you to outline some of the things that we kind of talked about, creating the SOPs, being able to understand what your mission and vision is, your SWOT for your business. And if you set up time to meet with me, if you have not done so already, I will send you over a list of your avatars based on your mission and vision statements that you can start to look at and that you can start to follow and engage with. And part of working with me for my coaching is not just identifying who your target market is, but also identifying how to talk to your target market and creating steps to communicate with them. So whether that's social media posts, newsletters, or cold calling, like all of those things, we'll go through a process that will hit your target markets for sure.
All right, thank you. And then Tiffany will drop this in the chat for you all to take advantage of. And how can we stay in touch with you?
So the best way to contact me is either email or text message. So if you call me, I am more than likely on a mute because I'm usually in a meeting or doing workshops or training. So text me is best. I'll get back to you, and email info@arbusinessexpansion.com. Part of those things that I talked about earlier, I know that my emails are not my strong part. So that's why I hired someone to manage my emails and do the responding. So I do see all of my emails. But I do have someone who knows my system and knows what the steps are so that they are able to respond in a timely manner.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. So like you're still working on things, right? There's always
Absolutely.
space for improvement. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Athenia, for all of this information this morning. You always come with so much knowledge. You're such a vessel of knowledge for the things that we want to implement ourselves and might not necessarily know how to or where to get this information. So thank you for coming on Woo and sharing the way that you share and how often you do in this series. That we needed it, we need it. And so thank you. And one way to show our gratitude and our thanks for Athenia's conversation today and others is by way of love offering. So we can keep these conversations going. We can stay on Zoom. We can integrate onto Facebook. We can pay for the text messages that wake you all up in the morning to join us so that you don't miss the conversations. So please consider sending a love donation, love offering to us on Cash App. Cash App, Zelle, or QuickPay, and that information is on the screen. And you can use the code hashtag 1323AR. And Tiffany's going to share the information in the chat with you as well to do so. And if you want to do it where you set it for the month and you don't have to think about it, you can give a generous offer throughout the month, and it will automatically be taken from your card. So you can do 25, 50, 75, 100. And we're also going to work on making it so that you can put any amount that you want to. So remember, this will be monthly. Some people forget and they're like, Shan, I need that refund for this month. Please send it back. Right. So it will come out every month, but for a good cause. You're constantly contributing to the Woo space. So we thank all of you who have already clicked the link and contributed, and those of you who are considering, and those of you who will after today's session. All right, so our upcoming sessions, it doesn't stop, everybody. Today we're on 1323, so tomorrow's 1324. We just keep going, and I'll talk more about the Woo anniversary too, how we started for 30 days, 2020, and here we are 5 years later. Okay, so tomorrow we have Shayna Hewitt. Start it now before it's too late, and that will be a 30-minute session. And then, of course, our lovely Martine, Realizing a Dream Part 2. Ish or get off the pot, because I'm in the kitchen with grandma. So 13th session coming up, and that will be a 90. So that'll be Thursday, excuse me. So that will be Thursday, March 13th, and that is a 90-minute session. And then we were talking about BTT. So that stands for Be the Tree. That is a program that many of us in this space have gone through. A few sisters are in here, cohort 11. And so we're going into our 23rd. What's your cohort, Athenia?
15.
15. Yes. Look at us. You know us, amazing people, amazing women in this space. So you're like us. We have an intro session coming up. So you could participate in a session that's similar to what the program will be like, so you can get a feel for it. We're going to start next Monday. We were going to start last week, but in recognition of the National Day of Rest for Black Women, we took off. We said we're going to move things around so we could rest, right? We didn't want to sit in session for 3 hours. So we're walking our talk and making sure that we are exposing women leaders to the things we're talking about in our spaces as well. So you can you can take a picture of the QR code, or you can register at bit.ly/PTT intro session, and the link will be dropped in the chat. Learn more about the program. And again, we're going to start next week, March 17th, but it's not too late. So if you know of other people, we will have intro sessions up until the end of the month, and then we're going to go to June 2025. And like I was saying before, so we started Woo 5 years ago in 2020, March 29th, and we were just supposed to do 30 days. 30 days. We went over a little bit. It's fine. It's totally fine. 1323, we are here today because of just the participation, the reward that came with it, the changes, the people transformations, how it changed people's lives, not only as participants, but as facilitators, how we've grown as coaches, healers, community members in our own businesses, right? And then we bring it back to this platform and share the wealth. So it's reciprocal, and Woo has done so many things for so many people in so many ways that we can't stop, right? Because it's our responsibility to be this space for people and to stay with what we said before about healing, transforming, and ascending others. So the link is in the chat, and you can register. So our session will be another marathon Saturday, March 29th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Zoom. So you can fill out the registration form. It's a different form from the one that you fill out for the week. So just go on bit.ly/living in 5D. And we want to welcome all of our new members. Got some new names in here in the space today. So we welcome you all to this community where we come to learn, elevate, and ascend, and we grow. And we want you to bring some more folks with you next time. So continue to join us, save the link, hop on in the mornings with us, and contribute to the conversation and become a new community member. And you could do so by joining us on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and then Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Like we mentioned before, we have those 30-minute sessions. And you can catch us live streaming on Facebook. That's where Tiffany is right now, bringing in the voices of those folks who are on Facebook and didn't, land in the Zoom space, so we can have both spaces to hear the voices of the community members. And again, those text message alerts, like I said before, you can start getting them by texting all caps Woo Nation to 74121 to get the morning reminders. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today, and join us again tomorrow. You can register online at bit.ly/wakeupmovement, where you can see the lineup for the week. you can join our private Facebook page and our public Facebook group. And that's where you can see the replays and you can watch the live streaming. We also have Instagram, and we are building our YouTube back up so you can all see those sessions that started in 2025. We're going in the archives and saving this history, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're making history every time we get on here. So thank you all for joining. And if you have questions, you can email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. And I'm going to take the slide down and I'm going to unmute everyone so we can give Athenia her love shower for all this love and knowledge that she shared with us so graciously. And thank you so much again, sis.
Woohoo! Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you, thank you,
Athenia.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Definitely looking back on this.
Thank you.
As usual.
Thank
Whew.
you.
Wonderful day.
Yes,
Wonderful,
you got the
Thank
wonderful,
you
fire.
so
That's why
much
wonderful.
for
red
this.
is your
Such a
color.
You
blessing.
don't know how
But
many
this is
people you're helping
fantastic.
with sharing this
Thank you.
Love y'all.
knowledge. Thank
Cannot
you for
wait.
saying yes to the
Can't wait for my
charge.
session
What a
today.
wonderful
Love
day.
everybody.
What a
Looking forward to
wonderful
the
day.
session with you. Woohoo!
Wonderful. Really powerful. I love y'all.
Everybody have
Have
a
a wonderful day.
wonderful day.
Mwah. Peace and blessing, family. Love y'all.